They told you stay entertained, stay distracted, stay divided. I said stay dangerous. Let's go. We here. Universal. You want the tea, you want the beef, you want the who said what? When it's time to build a life, you keep your big mouth shut. You binge watch chaos, call it keeping informed. But when it's time to grow, suddenly you're bored. Addicted to the circus, dancing for $1 bill. While they're harvesting your focus, popping every kind of pill. The real got you trapped, the digital lobotomy. You rattle, watch a dummy captain claim your sovereignty. You feel it, don't you? That pressure in your chest. Don't wait, that whisper saying you were built for more than this. Breathe it in. High frequency, we don't vibrate low. Tuck the signal noise, let the real bliss grow. Wake up, stand tall, break the spell. We ain't building our minds in a digital cell. No walls. High frequency, crown don't tilt. Truth so heavy, make the weak ones wilt. If the numbers drop when the truth gets strong, then let them fall. We moving on. Yeah, they call it just contend, I call it control. If it numbs your spirit, it's a tax on your soul. You're arguing in comments about a rapper summer dress. Why you suffocating slowly in the world of curated stress? Hate the woman who thinks for herself, who won't chase wild, wake up, tree stealth. Mama golden queen, 10 toes down in the mud, while you're tracing likes and spilling everybody's blood. Warrior! Are you entertained or enslaved? Choose. Are you informed or inflamed? Think. Is the gossip worth your soul? Is it? Unplug the wire, activate the cell. Mama Warrior told you.
The breed is strong.
How break was we don't vibrate low. Little noise, let the real ones grow. Wake up, stand tall, break the spell. We ain't building our minds in a digital cell. High frequency, crown don't tilt. Truth so heavy, make the weak ones wilt. Have a leader, few who see and rule a million sleeping sheep. Not a sheep and I'm a queen. If the numbers drop when the truth gets loud, don't see or I'd rather have the crown than a brainless crowd. Go them all from the mud to the throne, from silence cause signal Mama Warrior, golden queen. Signal strong, static gun.
Hey y'all, what's up? It's your girl Golden. We are back yet again. We were having some technical difficulties earlier when we first started the live. But child, we got them all fixed and we are going to get back into our topic for today, which is why people attack their own, the psychology, the patterns, and the solution. And we'll also be discussing some community guidelines here on YouTube and how things are changing. So, per usual, y'all know I got my girl Imani with me, but we also got Mama Warrior up in the building as well. So all three of us will be coming to y'all to deliver some of this information and this broadcast today. Now, we have moved further along within the day from earlier, so it is almost 4:30 p.m. here Eastern Time in the United States in the Carolinas. And yes, the weather is still fine. And while we was having some of those technical difficulties, I went out in it, y'all, and took a nice walk with the dogs. And so, yeah, it's pretty decent weather here, and we're having a great Saturday. I hope you all are having a wonderful Saturday and weekend in whatever respectful time zone you are in. But without further ado, let's go ahead and bring Imani to the stage. So, what's going on, Imani girl? We are back. We had to fix those technical difficulties, but we shall prosper.
Yeah, and God bless it.
I'm
Yep.
good. I'm good. Yeah, we're a bit later than expected, but I've managed to rejig a few things and juggle things around so I can do this live and then I'm off out.
I know that's right, girl.
I hear you.
So, it's Saturday night, so we probably got some things planned, but that's our business.
Right.
What's up, Mama? You back as well? How you feeling today? How you feeling today?
As I said before, I'm having a wonderful Saturday with beautiful weather. Glad the Lord woke me up this morning, and here I am. Here I am.
I know that's right. So let's go ahead, y'all, and get into it. I'm going to give you a brief synopsis yet again of what we'll be talking about on this live, y'all. So we got a few different topics and a few different segments within each. So let's go ahead and give a overall introduction as to what we'll be doing. So we'll be pulling back the curtain on behavioral patterns that shows up everywhere. Okay, we're seeing a lot of this online, in politics, corporate spaces, and right in our own digital backyards. It is a phenomenon where individuals align themselves with a dominant or more powerful group, even if it means turning on and attacking people who share their own background, culture, or community. Now, I do want to be very clear right from the jump. Today is not about identity. It is not about race or specific individuals. This is a calm, analytical look at human psychology, platform accountability, and the social incentives that drive divisive behavior. So, like I said, Imani and Mama Warrior will be joining me, but we're also going to start off with the rules of the role and how these platforms are actually supposed to operate. So, in segment one, we'll be talking about platform policies and coordinated harassment. So, without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Imani, and she's going to get into this. Go ahead, girl, you got it.
Right. Before we even get into the psychology, well, we should have a look at the structural rules. Now, if you set up or use a channel primarily to coordinate harassment, trolling, or targeted abuse, it's a direct violation of YouTube's core policies. The platform has strict boundaries across multiple areas: harassment and cyberbullying, targeted abuse campaigns, hate or discriminatory conduct, doxing, privacy violations, and coordinated harmful activity. I think we got the whole lot in there. Basically, YouTube explicitly prohibits content that encourages others to harass someone, repeatedly targets individuals with insults or humiliation, and uses live streams or chats to dogpile creators or coordinates brigading and mass reporting. If a channel heavily focuses on toxic conflict, humiliation, or shocking conduct, it faces severe consequences under the Creator Responsibility Guidelines, which could mean you could be demonetized, they could put age restrictions, there could be video removals, strikes, suspension from the partner program if you're in the partner program, or full termination of your channel. Even if the content isn't removed entirely, it is frequently deemed unsuitable for ads under advisor friendly guidelines. Now, people seem to think that if they private lives, that they're unavailable, or if they delete their lives or delete content, that it cannot be accessed. Unfortunately, For these people, it's forever. And it can be accessed, especially if complaints are made. They will review your content, they will look at your content. And I'd also like to point out that outside behavior can also have an impact. So things like using text now numbers to harass people, to send messages, those will get reported to the authorities. And if you think you can't be traced using a text now number, you're very much mistaken. The police and the authorities have high power technologies to find out which IP address has sent the actual text. They can detect you even if you're using Google Text Now numbers. Because think about it, they're on Google. So they're accessible somewhere to someone. So you can carry on making silly phone calls, sending silly text messages, but unfortunately for you, that will form part and parcel of any prosecution that will happen to you. So do it at your own risk. Anyway, Mama, it's over to you. Have you got anything to add to this?
Yes, I do. And I want to say to both of you, yes, that's an important foundation, Imani, because people need to know that these behaviors aren't just drama. They are violations. For anyone documenting this kind of behavior for reports, moderation, or legal purposes, you need concrete evidence. That means saving your timestamps, tracking repeated targeted patterns, archiving live streams and chat logs, documenting coordinated attacks or calls to actions against individuals, and keeping track of monetized harassment. And one of the repeated harassments and insults and things I see happening here on YouTube is people using people's family members and children, making comments about disabled people and insulting them, and many other things I have seen across this YouTube where they are playing with fire because legally you can be handled for that. And if I were any of the given persons, I would seriously think about that because you don't want nothing coming your way, disrupting your life or hitting you in your pockets. This is not what you want. And you really need to listen and back up off of this because it's really too much. Got overwhelming. It's overwhelming now. And Golden, what do you think?
Well, exactly. I think that knowing the rules definitely changes the game. I think it takes the emotional charge out of it all and it turns it into a matter of policy enforcement, which we are actually starting to see now play out on a lot of these platforms. But we got to get to the root of things, just like we talked about in one of our previous videos. So let's look at why people are risking their channels and reputations to do this in the first place. So now we're going to go ahead and segue into proximity to power. And Imani, would you like to lead us off with some information about that?
Yeah, sure. Proximity to power. Naturally, human beings gravitate towards what they perceive as the winning team or the dominant structure. And when an individual feels vulnerable within their own peer group or community, a common psychological defense mechanism is to seek alignment or closeness with a higher authority or a larger audience. By standing next to power, they feel protected. They mistake the shadow of that power for their own strength. Now, let me just dig in a little deeper into this by what we mean by proximity to power. It works online by attaching yourself possibly to bigger platforms with larger audiences or people with stronger influences that can give you more opportunities. So when a creator aligns him or herself with two people who maybe have a bigger platform, louder voices, or more perceived influence, they may feel safer standing with them, even if it means harming people from their own community. When people feel powerless to confront the real source of their conflict, they attack sideways towards safer targets or what they think are easier targets. But they're not always easier targets because you don't know what these people will do when you attack them, because they may take it legal with you. So, you get this in the workplace, you have it in family dynamics, you have it in political groups, and you have it in influencer communities. And instead of confronting the people with the real power, some of these creators redirect their frustration towards people who can't retaliate in the same way. And it's just misdirected frustration. People will compete with members of their own group for attention, validation, status, visibility, and approval from outsiders. And this can lead to helping outsiders attack insiders, distancing themselves from their own group or trying to appear different from others. When someone praises outsiders while tearing down insiders, it's not cultural betrayal, it's in group competition. It's social survival strategy shaped sometimes by insecurity and the need for validation. And the algorithm is also on this platform, when we're talking about this platform, is responsible for giving incentives to do this, because social media rewards drama, conflict, alliances, pylons, taking sides, praising one person while tearing down another. It it Why do people do this? It boosts their engagement, it grows their channel, it keeps them in the so-called winning circle, and it protects them sometimes from being targeted. So when a creator praises one person's music while tearing down another's music, it's not about the identity, it's the algorithm. Conflict equals engagement, and engagement sometimes equals growth. But what we're seeing isn't about race identity, it's power dynamics. It's about proximity to influence. It's about lateral aggression, in group competition, and the way the platform rewards conflict. When someone aligns themselves with people they think are more powerful, even at the expense of their own community, it's not cultural disloyalty, it's social positioning. And we understand these patterns. When we understand these patterns, the better we can recognize them, call them out, and protect our spaces from this type of manipulation. And it's over to you, Mama, I think.
Exactly, Imani. And as I said, we see this play out in everyday life. Think of a corporate office where an entry level employee, he'll align with a toxic executive, throwing their own teammates under the bus just to secure a promotion. Or think of a high school clique where someone assists a bully in targeting their own friend group just so they won't be the next target. It's a positioning tactic, exactly as you said, but it's built on fragile foundation. And that's exactly what we have seen in life, even in our politics and everywhere we see this. And I know we remember a lot of it from high school and school days when we were in school. We've seen plenty of that, plenty of it. And it's the same thing across social media. Would you agree, Golden?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I just feel like, when someone attacks their own community to impress another group, that's a strategic move. They're trying to secure a seat at a table that they didn't even build, nor do they know much about. We see a lot of people trying to get ends in any way that they can to be around certain sectors, certain individuals, and certain cultures. They may not know much about it, but it's very popular. It's interesting. It's cool. And they definitely want to be a part of it. And so I do think they use these strategic type of moves to attach themselves to people. So if anything does go down, they feel as though, they're connected to someone with power, someone who will have their back, cover them when everything hits the fan.
Yeah.
But, as we've been seeing, little do they know, some of these people are only for self. So
Yeah.
even when you do that, things do hit the fan.
Mm-hmm.
They may not even have your back anyway.
Might not even period.
We do see a lot of this on these social media platforms, specifically and especially here on YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
But we also want to talk about outsourcing conflict and borrowed legitimacy. And so, Imani, would you like to lead us off with that talking point? You can unmute, Imani.
Oh, sorry. I was talking to myself for a good few seconds. I sounded so good.
It's okay.
Let's now talk about the people who encourage this behavior, the more established people who benefit from it. It's not about, once again, it's not about race or age. It's about a power. It's about power. It's about strategy and the social incentives that shape how people behave online and in the workplace and in politics. So when a person from inside a community attacks others from that same community, it gives cover to the people encouraging it. They can say, it's not us, it's one of your own. This is a classic tactic in workplace politics, in influencer drama, in political messaging, in social group conflicts. It's called outsourcing conflict. They get the benefit of the attack without taking any risk. It protects their reputation, it shields them from the backlash, and it allows them to maintain a very clean public image. It keeps their hands clean while someone else does the dirty work. And let me explain a little bit about the psychology. When the insider validates that outsider, that person who's from the outside, who's manipulating the other person, gains credibility. They gain protection from criticism. They gain a shield against the accusation of bias. And they gain, most importantly, permission to continue this behavior. This is borrowed legitimacy. For example, in the workplace, a male manager using women to validate a controversial decision about other women, a senior employee using a junior employee to criticize their peers, a political figure using a supporter from a targeted group to defend them. And online, when an established creator encourages a woman from one culture to attack a woman from the same culture, that person gains legitimacy she wouldn't have had on her own. It's not racial, it's strategic. And it's very clever because the person that's actually being manipulated to do this doesn't even understand that that's the strategy. They don't understand that that person who manipulates them has plausible deniability at all times. So they will congregate, for example, on one person, that person's platform, never on their own. They may have a monetized channel that they can do that by themselves, but they will use the puppet to do the dirty work. It's never done by them. It's never done in their space. And it's normally older, more mature people manipulating younger people, or it could be more established creators manipulated very inexperienced creators. They delegate the dirty work, they avoid any direct confrontation, and when they do get confronted, they hold their hands up and they'll say, it's nothing to do with me, that's that person. It's it's a very, very simple strategy. And they maintain the upper hand and they keep their image polished because the person that's actually doing the attacking will start defending them, even though they are the one manipulating them into doing all the attacks. Simple strategy, works every time. It's not about age, it's about social power management. It's about using alliances to strengthen your position while someone else absorbs the backlash. Now, it appears in, like I said, it appears in corporate spaces. It makes the criticism look internal, not top down. It protects leadership from backlash. It gives them cover and plausible deniability. Encouraging conflict weakens solidarity. These are the divide and conquer tactics that we've seen again and again. It also prevents people from unifying and pushing back, and it keeps attention off leadership decisions. But you can translate that into many environments, into family dynamics, into online activity. The person who attacks their own group is the visible one. They will get praise from these people, they'll get opportunities, they think, they will also get protection. But if we apply this along online, if they lose their channel, that person just moves to use someone else to do the same thing that they've been doing. But what they're doing by giving them praise, giving them gifts, sending them stuff, is it's strategic reinforcement. It rewards the person who protects them, even if it harms their peers. Like I said, it's not identity based, it's not race based, it's hierarchy. It's about power dynamics. And when established creators encourage people to attack their critics, that is what we call outsourcing the conflict. They get the benefit without taking any risk. And when they reward someone for tearing down someone who's in their peer group, that's borrowed legitimacy. It strengthens their position while weakening the people or trying to weaken the people who are being targeted. These same tactics show up in corporate spaces, in politics, online. And the more we understand this, the better we can protect ourselves from the manipulation and keep our community strong, be it corporate, be it in politics, be it online, be it even in our family dynamics. And that's all I've got on that. And who's next? Is it Mama?
Yeah. Yeah, I'm still here, sweetheart. Yeah, I absolutely do agree. It's like you said, it's the power. The power is what we're talking about here today. And it gives the outsider plausible deniability. See, they can say, look, I'm not attacking that community. One of their own people said it. The insider is essentially lending their identity to validate an attack. In exchange, they get borrowed legitimacy, temporary status, followers, or praise from the dominant group. But as soon as that insider is no longer useful, that platform disappears. Or what they do, they wrap you up and they throw you away, and they're on to the next one. That's what I have seen happen in our politics. I've seen that happen in our social media. I see that happen in families and in everyday life, which I do agree with. And this is what this really is. And if you follow what we're talking about and follow the pattern, you can very clearly see it. It's sitting right there in front of our faces. This is what's going on. This is why there's so much chaos. This is why there's so much tearing down of each other and groups groups of people getting together, tearing down one person and trying to attack one person. They get together like a pack of wolves. That's basically how they do this. And it's about the power. There's one leader. There's one leader, and that leader is the powerful leader of the pack. And this is how it's going down. And like to agree with you, Imani, yes, there's things being exchanged, and there's things being given, and things just being exchanged, and what have you, to gain the support of this person, to help them do what it is that they want done. And when they're through with you, they throw you out as just like the common trash. They just throw you out, and they move on to the next one, the next person that they can use to do the same thing, because that vulnerable person wants to be near them because of the power, because of their subscribers, or because of their views, or because they have a big channel and what have you. This is what attracts them in the social media. And as we look in politics, my God, don't we see that? Don't we see this about the power, be it a good power or negative power? Right now, we're looking at a person with negative power, and you see how they gather around him and do what he wants them to do, and cut off things and cut off various laws that can help people and what have you. So you see the pattern. It's right there in front of us, and it's the same thing on social media. Would you agree, Golden?
Yeah, I absolutely agree. We talk about this a lot, and just like y'all dug into, specifically because we talk about politics over here, and I know you just ended with that. That's definitely the main place we're seeing that happen.
Oh, every day.
With Trump and under the administration and whatnot, and all of the individuals that he has out there doing, his dirty work in the bidding forum.
Same thing on social media.
Same thing on social media platforms and on YouTube. Now, y'all know I have my nicknames and my things that I come up with, okay?
Oh, yeah.
And one of the things that, you pay close attention to a lot of the times, and I don't even know, but I think a lot of content creators are open their eyes to see this, that, you hold the platform, right? You're the entertainer, and the audience is actually now controlling you as far as what type of entertainment they want to see.
Oh, yeah.
And what I typically have, given that nickname is the side chat pyros.
Right.
They start little fires, right? So they may drop a seed, they may say something, they may speak a name, bring up an issue.
Right.
And you can see sometimes as the content creator, you fall a victim, right? Because you attach, you see that, and then boom, you jump on it,
and you go off what you have your channel about.
Yeah, you might even have a topic that you're talking about,
right?
Or that you plan to talk about, and before you know it,
you're off
got all the way distracted talking about people or things that the side chat pyros have instructed you or kind of fooled you into doing.
Right.
And then when they do that, like Imani was saying, a lot of time they want to say something. They want to attack. Right. They have a dislike.
Right.
But they will get
under the
content creator to come out and do these things and say these things, and do what basically they want them to do.
Right.
And get to what? Hide their hands and have plausible deniability.
Yeah.
They didn't do anything. They didn't say anything. That wasn't them.
Right.
That was on so-and-so channel. He said, and he said.
He said, she said. There it goes.
All of those type of things, right? And so we've been seeing a lot of that and a lot of those patterns. And one of the things as well is like, I see that a lot of supporters, like genuine supporters, people who are just coming to have a good time, just coming to really pay attention and listen to the content, they're finding and seeing the same patterns and finding themselves sometimes in the middle and uncomfortable when these strategic type of moves and plays start to happen. And so, I mean, I totally agree with both of you, but we have another big topic that we got to get into, right? And now we're going to dig into a little bit of the psychology of group loyalty and fear. Okay. So we're going to be talking about survival instincts, fear of isolation, and identity distancing. So for segment one of that, we'll talk about survival mechanisms and status anxiety. And Imani, would you like to go ahead and lead off with a few thoughts about that topic right there? And you can unmute.
Okay. Yeah, human behavior. Basically, why do people stay loyal to these groups, even when their loyalty harms them? And why fear and social positioning? Why does fear and social positioning push people to attack people in their own community or peer group? It's about human behavior. It's about their survival instincts and the pressure to belong. Because humans are wired, we're all wired to seek belonging. We're all wired to seek groups for safety. Being accepted by a group reduces social risk. Being rejected increases your vulnerability. So, this leads to some people, when they're not switched on about what the group is doing, defending the group even when it's wrong, attacking people to prove loyalty, attacking their peers to show alignment with the dominant subgroup. And, we have many examples of this. Like I said, you get office cliques, you get political factions, you get influencer alliances, you even get schoolyard dynamics. So when someone attacks people to impress someone else, it's not betrayal, it's survival behavior. They're trying to secure their place in that group. I mean, we've seen it in the schoolyard, we've seen it with the bullies, and they think they will have more power if they're attached to that group. Now, did you want me to talk about? Sorry, Golden, I forgot. Am I supposed to talk about the fear of isolation?
Yeah, go ahead. You can dig into that a bit.
Yeah, yeah, because I
Yeah.
didn't want to take up too much time because I recognise. Yeah,
No,
I
no.
mean, people fear being excluded. These are natural emotions: being excluded, being ignored, being attacked, being replaced, being humiliated, and that fear drives behaviours. So people join attacks to avoid being attacked. They stay silent to avoid backlash. They side naturally, a lot of the times, with the winning group. And they distance themselves from their peers to avoid being targeted. And a lot of harmful behavior is about isn't it's about confidence. It's not about confidence actually. It's more about fear. The fear of being alone, the fear of being the next target, the fear of losing relevance, the fear just basically of not belonging. And people constantly position themselves socially because they want to appear smarter, they want to appear more aligned, they want to appear more evolved, they want to be more accepted, they want to be more connected. So they do what people tell them because they think that's what's going to make them fit in. And they align themselves a lot of the time with people with their own personal motives. And their own personal motives, especially online, and you see it in the workplace, is to try and eliminate people who are their competition. They want superiority over these people. This is why they outsource the conflict, because they are never the one that is performing the actions. It's always the minions that they send to do this. It happens in the workplace all the time. It happens online way too much to even talk about. And you can see this. You can see this happening with particular channels that have some very toxic content that they wake up in the morning and their whole day is spent attacking the same group of people over and over again. I don't need to name them. You know who they are. So, you get them tearing down their own peers, praising outsiders, or, these people that are in their ear, really. And it's really about social positioning. They're trying to signal that they're not like the people in their peer group. They're better. They're different. They're more aligned with the people in power. And people distance themselves from their own groups to avoid stigma. And they'll say things like, I'm not like them. I'm the exception. I'm the good one. And let me tell you, it's universal. It's not racial. So, you know, group loyalty, fear, and social positioning shapes more online behavior than people realize. And when someone attacks people, it's rarely about identity, race, it's about survival, it's about fear of exclusion, it's about the desire to be accepted by the group they think has more power, more understanding, more influence. And these patterns will help us, if we check for these patterns, it will help us to understand some of this behavior that's going on online, going on in the workplace, that's going on in politics. And that's all I have for my section. I don't know who's next because I'm not reading the order.
Girl, yeah, that's excellent.
That is excellent. That's a wonderful
And
breakdown.
basically, like I said, everything is spot on. The commentary that you have, the commentary that Mama has, we all are in alignment when it's coming to this. As far as what we've been seeing and witnessing, especially because we do spend a lot of time here on YouTube, we do follow politics very closely. It's almost like a mirror. Whatever we're seeing that's happening, like in the political and the government sector, it's like almost the exact same happening here on YouTube. And yeah, exactly like you said, the identity distancing, like people are feeling as though they have to distance themselves so they can get, recognition, or they can be invited into another group or into another sector or into another space. They have to, like basically detach themselves from someone. And what I think sucks about it is that energy is almost trying to be transferred to, like I said, just really great supporters, people who just really want to come out and support multiple people, have a good time. They are being forced even to feel as though they have to do the same thing. And there's some that do actually do it for comfortability, and then there's some that, they speak up and they say, no, I am a grown individual. Whatever issues these people are having are not mine. And I can go where I want to go. I can support who I want to support. And that is it. And that is all. And there's a lot more people that are speaking up and standing on those laurels today. And I think that's great because that's taking your power back, right? Because when you're feeling as though you have to pick a side or you have to, deny someone, that you like this person, you support this person, just so you can fit into somebody else's group. Anybody who makes you feel that way is probably not going to be a good experience or time being in a place, in a space where people are forcing you and making you feel as though you have to pick a side. If you rock with someone else, then you can't rock with them. That's not how you treat people. You know what I mean? It's not cool. So we're seeing a lot of that happening as well. Now, as we get into segment 2, Mama, you'll lead off on this one. We also got to talk about the fear of isolation and the social punishment that comes along with all of this. So I know you had taken some notes on that. What's some of your thoughts and opinions when it comes to the fear of isolation and social punishment?
Well, I see that a lot as well. Let's be honest about what drives a lot of vitriol we see on social media. Pure fear. Fear is the number one emotion that goes on that I see plenty of. Fear of being excluded, fear of being ignored, or the fear of becoming the next target. A lot of the people join the online power. They don't actually care about the issue. They're just terrified of being isolated. They join the attack to prove that they belong to the winning crowd, the winning group. Yes. And I see plenty of that. And the fear is exactly what it's saying: fear of being ignored, fear of becoming the next target, fear of being canceled, fear, so much fear. It's like you're bullied in to stay with a certain content creator. If you say anything against that content creator, if you speak to anyone or go to anyone's channel that doesn't like that content creator, well, now you're going to be targeted, you're going to be ignored, and you've got the fear of that. So you just go right along with the program. You just go right along with everything because you don't want that to happen. And a lot of times, you have some subscribers and what have you really don't want to be under that content creator anymore. They want to change. They want to move somewhere else, but find that they cannot because of the fear of being ignored or becoming the next target. So they just stay and go along with just go along, get along gang. That's basically how they do it. And that's what I see.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you think about that, Imani? What's some of your thoughts?
That's spot on, Mama, actually, that it really is. Because when fear runs the show, critical thinking stops and people stay silent during, injustice or whether it's attacks, or they actively participate in tearing someone else down or telling lies on them, simply because the social cost of standing up for that person feels way, way, way too high and too costly. And there is her fear that you could be that person if you don't participate. It is a vicious cycle, but it is something that we need to look at and start recognizing and maybe have a different reaction to it that's not so active or reactive. Because I think what a lot of these people want who are manipulating this behavior is the reaction, the constant reaction, because then it feeds the cycle for them to create more content about your reaction. And then they do something else, you have a reaction, and then they create more content based on your further reaction. And you know what the main thing is? They have zero content really without creating this cycle of toxic bullshit. Excuse my French. That
It's
is
okay.
what one of the main issues is. Because if you look at those platforms that do this, if they didn't talk about people, if they didn't drag people daily, and I'm not saying you can't, because I like a good drag and a roast myself. I mean, I
Yeah.
listen to Goody and she has me in stitches. She has me in stitches sometimes. I was listening to her the other day when she said to someone, treat me like you treat the rent man, avoid me. I was killing myself. And I think, and I would say, and this is one bit where I say, go over to Goody's channel because I can tell you you need cheering up. And, I watch lots of different people. I like watching Lady Letitia simply for the comedy of watching her try and read the names in her chat and read what they're saying and trying to work it out 3 hours later. I think she's funny. I would never, never stop anybody from going over to that channel because
I
I sometimes think it's a comedy parody. I love it. But,
yes,
there are other channels where
yes.
it's a constant barrage of dragging and there's nothing else going on. And I didn't say those two channels to put them down. I'm saying those two channels because there is nothing wrong with going and watching. Like I said, I love Lady Letitia because she makes me laugh. She makes me laugh. But like I said, I also love I don't love when she's doing her dragging moments and talking about magic constantly, but I do love the moments when sometimes she's just doing normal stuff and talking about. Not that I'm interested in Megan or anything like that, but I just love watching the comedy moment when she's reading the names. But anyway, that's that aside. And like I said, I love goodies content, but the dragging, the toxic, nasty behavior, the talking about people with disabilities on a day-to-day basis, you've got the same name in your mouth. It's disgraceful. But that's just me. I've gone over. Sorry, I lost the train of thought.
No, you're fine. You are fine. I absolutely agree. I absolutely agree. Like I just, and for the life of me, I don't get it. I really don't. How many days, how many hours in a day, like, can people really consume someone that's just talking about people, dragging people, making fun of people, just seeming like they are so bitter, like so angry and unhappy with life that this is all you can think to do from the time you wake up until the time you lay down. And that has become a trend and a thing. It is really, it's mind blowing to me. It's very mind blowing to me that that has become the typical standard of content and what people feel proud to present day in and day out. And, you know, we can get into a few more things though. Like, for instance, you know, I see and I hear what these people do and they say, right? When they're in the chats or they're on the channels, and, you know, the constant repetitiveness of talking about someone that really has not done anything to you, like, at all. I don't get where exactly all of that come from. I feel as though sometimes it's like when you was in school, right, as a child, and you know, you either had the girl or the boy or whatnot, and the boy would pick on the little girl because he likes her. It's almost giving that kind of energy to me sometimes. Like, I feel like some of these people are just picking on people that they actually really genuinely like. But for whatever reason, maybe that person just don't want nothing to do with those people anymore. Or they don't know how to approach you in, you know, a regular manner and just be like, hey, yo, I think you dope. I think you cool. I want to kick it. Like, it's awkward. It's a lot of awkwardness. And so instead of knowing how to, you know, navigate through those things as an adult and with maturity, it's like, so then you just start talking about people and trying to laugh and clown. It makes really no sense to me. I don't really get it. I don't. But anyway, we got to move forward. So now we're going to go ahead and get into part 3. Now, part 3 is breaking the cycle and community solutions. So now we're shifting from analysis to action. How do we protect our digital spaces? Now, in segment 1, we'll be talking about naming the behavior without shaming the person. And I know, Mama, you had a few things you wanted to say about that. So let me let you go ahead and take the floor.
Let me see here. Yeah, so the question does become, so how do we break this cycle? It really starts with how we respond. When we see someone attacking their own community for clout or proximity to power, our instinct is to attack their character or identity. Well, as we know, and sometimes this can be very hard to do, I will be honest and raw and real about that. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's hard to do it this way, but this is the way it should be done. That what happens is that just fuels the fire. Instead, this is what we need to practice. We have to learn to name the behavior without shaming the person. And the reason why I say real and raw is because we're all human beings. And if you sit on the other side of the screen and you have someone who's constantly berating you, talking about you, insulting you, calling you out of your name each and every day, it's a little hard to name the behavior without shaming the person, because our instinct is, okay, she's coming at me bringing this, so now I got to come back at her. And I have really found myself into that, and I've had to try my best. I tried my best to withdraw from that. But this is the exact way that it's supposed to be done. And I like to be honest with people. I don't like to come on here and talk phony talk. I'm telling you what the real is. Somebody's cussing you out every day, and you're listening to it. The next thing you want to do is curse them back. I mean, that's humanity. That's just the way it is. But this what we're speaking about right now is the way that you actually handle it. Because when you do, it's just a continual back and forth, and it doesn't do anything but fuel the fire. The fire becomes a raging fire after that, and it just goes on and on. So I would say this is one of the best ways that we start to name the behavior without shaming the person. Is one of the number one ways we can try to do this. What do you think, Imani?
And you can unmute, girl.
I've done it again, talking to myself. Yeah, well, I mean, when you see a pattern, and when we're using terms like lateral aggression, and lateral aggression is them just targeting a person they think they can. There's a phrase in patois, and I'm going to try and say it so that people understand it. It says, "Doppie no who fi frighten." What that means is a ghost knows who to scare. It's a term that means bullies think they know who to pick on. And that's how I would term lateral aggression, or algorithmic baiting, or identity distancing. You got to strip the emotion out of this stuff. You got to make it objective. You don't have I would not engage in the personal screaming matches, because, as I said, it just creates content. So what you have to do is you have to take the right actions. If it's clear it's against platform policies, then, and it impacts you, then you have to report it. And you have to report it, and you have to give timestamps, and it forces accountability based on facts, not your feelings. Because if it is against the policy, you can quickly do a quick thing to say, this has happened, this is what this person has said, and it will tell you, this is against this policy, and this is the reason why. So you've got to have your evidence, and you've got to report it, because I don't think people learn until they are reported. And I don't mean just for casually having banter or talking about you. I mean for things that are totally objectionable, things that people should not be doing, and they know they shouldn't be doing. For example, we saw in politics recently a photo of the Obamas as apes. Yesterday, I saw on someone's channel a Caribbean parody of a black man with a photo, or rather with characters, apes and gorillas in there. Now, I'm not going to say who it is, because you know who it is. But I can rest assured it was one of those manipulators. I would lay money it was the person that was manipulating that person that made that video, because they throw rocks and hide their hands. They outsource the conflict, because that person will get the blame for that objectionable and offensive video. But everybody thinks it's all in fun. But yet we're here talking about people putting monkey pictures on their posts simply because they say they like monkeys. And that's, meant to be offensive, yeah. But someone putting apes and gorillas in a parody with Caribbean music in the background, even though the person that they're actually trying to portray is not from the Caribbean, that's not offensive, is it? And let me tell you, I would lay money that that was not the content creator that created that video. That is
Mm.
someone that loves to boast about graphics.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I
You know.
agree. Yes,
So,
I agree.
and the person that actually was showing that video, because they want to please, doesn't even think about the offense created, doesn't even think about, we've just recently seen a picture of Michelle and Barack Obama as apes. No, there's selective outrage. They want to drag dropping the tea through the coals for her post. But yet you have a video with apes and gorillas. Okay, make that shit make sense. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We
Right.
see you. We see you and we know what you're doing. And we know exactly who created that video.
Yes, we
But
do.
anyway, what I was going to say, getting back to what I was saying, we've got to reduce the manipulation by the algorithm, because the algorithm rewards conflict, but creators can refuse to engage in the drama, in the toxicity. They can avoid amplifying the harmful content. They can set their own boundaries and redirect conversations, especially when you get, as you say, the side chat pyros trying to direct the content and steer the content for them to talk about somebody. One person I've noticed is very good at this. Maggie's very good at ignoring those sort of names that get thrown out for no apparent reason. She's very good at ignoring. She says, "Why are you talking about that person?" She's very good. And she's doing some good work exposing a certain content creator. And guess what? Once again, we've got selective outrage. Maggie's being asked, why is she looking at this historical stuff that everybody knew? For the same reason we looked at Quiet Storm, for the same reason we looked at Diddy. I think it's really, really interesting the people that are asking why Maggie is mentioning that certain content creator with 1 million subscribers. Oh no, we want to look at everybody else's dirt, but we don't want to look at the dirt that disgusting stuff that he was doing. You keep at it, Maggie. Yeah, you keep at it. Keep your foot right on their necks. Anyway, but when creators stop feeding the algorithm with conflict, the algorithm stops rewarding the people who thrive on division. So they should try and build some of their content around value and not too much about, it's not really about conflict, it's about the toxic stuff that comes out of the conflict. We're not saying that people shouldn't fight and argue. It's fun, let's have a few internet buddy situations, but it's going too far now. It's going too deep. So, I think that people need to sit up and have a think about what they're really doing. I don't know. What do you think, Golden? I think it's you.
Yeah. I absolutely agree. We talk about this a lot, right? Um, it's sometimes it just seems like we just have to keep repeating ourselves over and over and over again. But one of the things also that I wanted to talk about is like you said, when it comes down to the architect of the platforms that we're using, what we're seeing right now is that the modern algorithms seem to be rewarding conflict and chaos. That outrage seems to be, driving up the engagement, and that engagement drives up revenue. And so it's just like we have to ask ourselves, if we want healthier communities, creators and audiences included have to collectively refuse to feed that type of algorithm with the drama. And I know it's easier said than done, because I find myself getting caught up in a lot of this as well. Typically because, you may have to defend or speak up for yourself. And, it's just, then it's a back and forth and it just continues to happen. You have times where you basically make the decision. It's just like, look, I've said what I've said. I've made my decision to just part ways. And then you go on about your life, you go on about your content, and you find people that cannot stop talking about you or consistently want to get your attention and want you to go back and forth with them. They want to enter you back into the group chat. And it's like, once you've made up your mind, like, look, I'm good on all of that. I don't want to talk about it no more. It's already been, discussed. I've said what I said. I made the choice that I made. I don't want to continue to go back and forth with you. But people will try and drag you out, trigger you to get you to respond and go back and forth with them, because that is the content, the back and the forth. And you say this, they say that, responding and, all of that type of stuff. It's just, it is definitely strategic. And the people know what they're doing when they do that. And so, that's just what I find, on a lot of these sectors and a lot of these spaces was continuing to be a thing. It's just a never ending cycle. It just keeps going around and around and around. But what do you think about that, Mom? How do you feel? Have you been seeing that as well and experiencing that as well?
Yes, I have. Yes, I have. I've seen that plenty. I have seen, I'll share something with you. I have seen myself to fall into the negative algorithms for two particular reasons. One is because Golden, my daughter, was attacked, and I came in as a mother to defend my daughter. I will defend any of my family members, my daughter, or my family members. I'll even defend my friends. And when I came in, I tried to come in with some resolution or resolving, but when I came in, I got attacked. I'm human. I attack back. And is this my normal way of behaving? No, it's not. And I've said this over and over again. I am spiritual. I am not perfect. I'm not 100%. I am a human being who loves her daughter very much. And I will defend her anytime, any place in the world. I will give my life to my child. And she could be 98 years old. She's still going to be my child. And she's still going to be my daughter. And I'm still going to defend her. So I just wanted to make that clear. And what this really is saying that it really means setting hard community standards in our digital spaces. We should not, I have, but we should not. No targeted harassment. I don't targetedly harass anyone. No participating in outside pile-ons. I don't do pile-ons. And a commitment to clear boundaries. Yes, that's what we should be doing. When a digital space feels secure, the people within it don't feel the anxious need to perform or attack each other for attention. And this is something else I want to share. I travel to many channels. I have found channels I like to be at because it's calm, it's nice. I'm learning something new, something I didn't know before, or they're sharing a story I'm interested in. And yes, I will go in the chat. I will say hello. I'm going to say something because me as a human being, I actually feel that I can go anywhere I wish to go. I should not have fear. Yeah, I should not have fear to go to someone's channel. Now, I have also went to someone's channel, and you'll find this too. I've went to someone's channel, and you'll find that that person, the content creator, is very well with you. Mm-hmm. But while you're in the chat, you're being attacked by other chatters, or they've said something to this person to say something about your past, true or untrue. Mm-hmm. And then you'll see the chat turn on you, and I'm only there to see that content creator.
Side chat pyros.
you know.
Hmm.
But this is what I do. I travel to a lot of channels. I find some that I really like, and there's some that I do not like. But I will go anywhere I wish to go.
Yeah.
And that's how we all should feel. We should not feel like be in fear to go to channels and support one another if that's what we want to do.
Hmm.
And that's what I do.
Yeah, and like I said, there is a shift, because I do think a lot of people are seeing it, a lot of content creators are seeing it as well. And it's disruptive, they don't like it. It's shying people away from their channel, honestly.
Mm-hmm.
Because if someone wants to come in and kick it with you and listen
Right.
to your content,
Right.
and then you have these
Somebody
other
will
people
come
who
from
have
somewhere
likes
else. Here
that
they
are
come.
on your channel,
Yeah. And attacking
starting
you.
with people,
Yeah.
then it's just
On their
like
channel.
that's starting to become an uncomfortable environment, and people are not going to want to come in and deal with that, or they're not going to want to come back. So I don't know, maybe that can be regulated a little bit better. Maybe these people can be called out for what they're doing. I can't be sure, but that is a thing. That is a thing.
And my advice is don't let fear envelope you.
Mhm.
Don't let yourself get wrapped up in fear. Make these people on social media make you fearful from sharing your opinion, from making a statement, from going to a channel, for supporting other people. Don't let fear take a hold of you.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
And then the third segment that we're gonna have Imani start off talking about, we're gonna go into strengthening in group solidarity.
Yeah.
And I think that is what it's all about. So go ahead, Imani. You lead with this topic right here.
Right. Well, as Golden will tell you, and Mama will tell you, I'm very much a solutions driven person. I am always the one that says, okay, I know that's happened, but what can we do to resolve it? How can we resolve it? And my thing is, I don't, people think in group solidarity means we all sit down on a prayer mat and we have a little kumbaya session. No, it doesn't look like that. It doesn't mean blind loyalty. It doesn't mean you have to like everybody. It doesn't mean you have to like every content creator. What it means is we need to be able to exist together. And this applies in all spaces. We're talking about in the workplace. You can talk about this in family dynamics. I'm sure we've all got family members that, we always come into conflict with. It's about how we deal with these situations so that they become more manageable. And it doesn't mean that we have to agree with everybody. It doesn't mean we have to have blind loyalty. And we certainly don't have to agree with people when they're wrong. What it means is handling situations in a better way, being able to communicate better. Unfortunately, on this platform, it tends to be striking up a live, getting panels. Sometimes I think we might need to to speak to that person directly if we can, not if they perceive it to be harassment, but let's refuse to let these manipulators control the narratives, control the behaviors, weaponize people against one another for no apparent reason apart from if your channel goes, because that's all they want. They want to control the space that you're trying to exist in. They want to get the people out of there, out of this space that they can't manage, that they can't make go out and do all this attacking, because there is money attached to this. And we'll go into this at some other time. But all this stuff is not done just for someone's amusement. It's done for money, because if they get rid of all these small channels, they can bring all these small channels in. You think about all these people, yeah, and you know who you are. You've got you've got channels, and that's nobody that's in this chat, by the way. So I don't want anybody to think I'm directing at them in this chat. There are certain people who have monetized channels that they do absolutely nothing with, but they sit in other people's chat all day encouraging bullshit. You know who you are. You know who you are. And we know who you are. And also, what you need to think about, if you set those accounts up with a lot of trolls and bots, you're about to get found out because YouTube's not playing with you lot anymore. Trust me. And neither are we. So, we can try and resolve these conflicts, getting back to what I was saying, by trying to be a bit more supportive of people. Like I said, I go here, there, and everywhere. Most of the time, I will sit and I will watch and I'll be in the bushes to see how the dynamic is in the chat. Because for me, it's very important how people behave in the chat with the content creator. And like I said, there's a couple of people that I've been going around to their chats and watching what goes on in their chats. I've been, Kimmy, Teddy, great work they're doing, fighting for what they need to fight for. Cultivate with Kai, Goody, love Goody, does a good drag. She might not be everybody's cup of tea, but she does make me laugh. So we got to be supportive, try and correct one another if need to be, and refusing to let people weaponize us against one another. But like I said,
Imani, are you still there? Your sound went out, girl.
sorry, can you hear
Okay.
me? Can
Yeah,
you
you
hear
back
me?
now. Yeah, I
Yeah,
can hear you.
we've got to try and have some positive solutions, because when you refuse to let yourself be divided, their tactics stop working. They can't borrow legitimacy if we don't give it to them. So we've got to break the cycle and try and understand the psychology behind it. And believe you me, dollars are a big thing. But we've got to do it with action and sometimes not so much reaction. You know, if we know the behaviors, we've got to set the standards, we've got to resist the manipulation of the algorithm and strengthen our unity. And I don't mean sit there and have a prayer mat, and you don't have to like everybody. I don't go to channels where I don't like their content. I don't even comment on it. I don't even go in the chat. It's not my business. If I don't like your content, you're not going to see me. Sometimes I just sit in the bushes, like I say, and watch. But if we create spaces that are harder to divide, they're easier to protect. And healthy spaces, healthy communities, healthy workplaces don't happen by accident. They happen by intention. And over to you, Golden. I think you've got some more to add to this, or is it Mama? I don't know. I've lost the order. You know me.
It's okay, girl.
It's all right. We all here.
So no, I absolutely agree with everything that you just said, And one of the things, that I think is we do see change, right? Like we do see things getting better. We do see people, are getting it. They're waking up. They're seeing things for what they really are, and they're moving and shifting accordingly, right? One of the other things that I think too that can be a big use and help is, I think people have to be able to take accountability and what has happened in the world where people have too much pride to apologize. Like if you do something, you hurt somebody, you harm somebody, you got it wrong, you made a mistake. It's not too much to admit to that, and it's not too much to give an apology. But people will just forward march along and just be like, oh, that never happened. I never said that. I never did that. I want to forget about it and pretend that, it just disappeared. And certain things, I think that adds to why some people do have like these long drug out gripes with people for like years and years and years, because maybe they are feeling that there's some type of wrongdoing or injustice that has happened to them, and they might just be looking for a simple apology. So maybe this is something that, we all can think about and try to incorporate a little bit more, right? If we haven't. And again, it can be people's, perception of what happened and their perspective of it all. Some people may think they did something wrong, and some people may say in response to that, I don't think I did or said anything wrong. So there's that. But when you clearly have, I think most people know when they, wrong someone or hurt someone. And I think needs to be more accountability and more apologies given as well. And maturity to just move on and move forward. And if people decide that they want to move on and move forward, I don't feel as though we got to keep dragging things back out. Like, let it go.
Yeah.
Let it go and move on. Find something else to do, find something else to talk about, or even somebody else to talk to, or be with, converse with, break bread with. But when people decide, look, I'm good on that, and they walk away, just let that be. You know what I mean? Just move on accordingly. But Mama, I know you had a few thoughts as well. When it comes to, and we're talking about the strengthening in group solidarity. So everything that ties into that. What do you think about that?
I think that's very important. When a community refuses to be divided, the tactic of outsourcing conflict, that'll completely stop working. Outsiders can borrow your legitimacy if your insiders refuse to sell it. So, like it says, like it says, and like we're saying, if you're going to join in with solidarity, that does not mean blind loyalty. You may disagree. You may see different sides of things, but these are the things that you discuss respectfully and dignified to one another to get a solution on what is going on.
You can agree to disagree.
Yeah, you can agree to disagree, but that solidarity should stand. I don't want you to be called the beach, so I'm going to stand with those who think the same way. Why would if I don't want you called the beach, you shouldn't want someone to call me a beach, and we should be standing in solidarity about that.
Even though you may not,
even though you might not really like me, but that's wrong. Mm-hmm. We're talking about morals and standards and respect for ourselves. Mm-hmm. This is what we're talking about. And I think another thing, people need to start going to channels. You need to start going to channels. And if you find a title or a subject matter that may appeal to you, go to that channel. Like I said, take the fear cape off. Mm-hmm. Stop using the fear cape. And go to that channel and support one another. Sometimes you make meaningful connections. You'd be surprised the meaningful connections you can make. But when a community, like I said, refuses to be divided, that tactic of outsourcing conflict completely stops working. Outsiders can borrow your legitimacy if your insiders refuse to sell. Anything you want to add on?
No, I was just saying, like you said, yeah, people should and have been going to multiple different people's channels and showing.
I know I am. I'm going to start doing that. I'm going to go to different types of channels and all kinds of channels.
But I do think that one of the reasons why many people are now, not wanting to get involved or may just stay in the bushes is because of the tension
or the
chaos,
past things they've heard back there and what have you, all that.
The tension and the chaos that a lot of these channels hold, right? And there's just people that just don't want any parts of that. They're just like, every time, I come to the channel, you're fighting this one, you're turning on that one, you're talking and exposing this one and that one. And they get a bit tired of that pattern and that energy. And so they just decide either to stop coming around altogether or support from a distance.
Right.
What do you think, Imani?
No, I also think there's another thing that's happening is that people are they're attacking subscribers. And that is why a lot of people are staying in the bushes. And I think that is terrible because people only they subscribe to a channel to listen to the content. But when you get people attacking subscribers, and I don't mean pointing out things like calling people rasta bitches, excuse my French, or mocking disabled people. I'm talking about the fact that you're just sitting in a chat supporting someone that they don't like. When did we get to the stage where people think they can control where we go and who we support? It's got nothing to do with you. Don't care if you don't like that person. It's nothing to do with you. And this is the thing that has caused a lot of problems where you see people sitting in the bushes. They don't want to take part in the chat because they know that anything they say or they may be there, it will be used as a rod to beat them with, to attack them and say, oh, you were in that person's chat. Oh, is that where you're going now? What the hell? Where the hell are we at? This is really, really high school playground behavior, and it is bullying. It really is bullying, and people shouldn't be bullied. I personally will go into a chat if I feel like it. Sometimes I just sit in the bushes because I just want to observe what the content creator is doing. But I will also not give my support where I think there's negativity. And like I said, there are people that are negative and they have negative content about particular people on a day-to-day basis. I mean, aren't you tired? Are you tired of having the same person's name in your mouth on a daily basis? My goodness. It's ridiculous. But that's why I say don't feed that content. Sometimes don't react to that content. Because when you react, that gives them the content they needed to go ahead and start talking about you, to talk about how you speak, to talk about what words you use. And it's like you said, two people with accents yesterday, one Australian and one Bosnian, talking about my accent. I mean, really, really and truly, you know,
Exactly.
it's
Like,
ridiculous. But also, it's about the fact that they don't actually understand about our culture because we have to code switch. Because I can't go in there talking like I do to my friends. That is why I speak the Queen's English. I even had someone say, you want to know what's funny? I wrote the word patois, yeah, and patois is spelled Patois. And someone actually said that I can't spell because I can't spell patios. You see, that just goes to show you don't even know the culture you're talking about. Patios, you know. They thought I was writing patios. Mate,
Lord,
I've
patio.
got basic English.
they don't
It's
even know.
ridiculous. Yeah, she can't
Oh,
spell. She wrote,
Mm.
she can't spell patios. No, it was patois. Patois I was writing.
What you wrote is what you meant. Thank you.
like you know what you're
I know
talking
what I'm.
about. I don't think they know what they
Patios. Lord have
Yeah, I
mercy.
thought I was writing patios instead of patois. What an idiot.
Child.
Well,
Anyway,
well,
on that basis, I think people have to feel free to go and support and to call out people who are calling them out for supporting people because it's not your damn business. If you don't like that content creator, that's your problem. It's not
right.
our problem.
Don't go there. If you don't like the content creator, don't go there. Don't
Yeah.
go there.
Yeah.
You know, you have a choice. People have to understand you have a choice. You have choices.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
clip that one.
Yes, yes, you have choices. Jesus Christ.
Goodness, the things that these people say in the
Mm,
chat.
mm.
I have seen so many things, and I'm just
Horrific,
like,
horrific things.
you would think
Horrific.
that you really like did something
Did something
terrible to
really
these
bad
people.
to them people. Yeah.
For the life of me, I don't get it. I don't get it.
Mm.
But you know what? Real quick, we're gonna go ahead and take a quick music break, and once we
Oh
come
yeah.
back, we're gonna get into our very final topic that we're gonna talk about. And this one is really important to me. because I'm seeing that there is a pattern of people trying to weaponize certain things. And we're going to get into it. You know what we're talking about, Imani. But let's take this quick song break. I'm going to get me some water, and I will be right back.
Yeah. You thought you were safe? Yeah. Yeah, you thought you were safe or good. Everybody looking for a home, looking for a click, looking for a place where the realness sticks. We out here building, trying to be free, but you just here to use them plain to see. I see you a user, a culture vulture, a leech, acting like you love the speech just so you can preach. You see the glow, you wanna get near it. You hear the soul, you try to engineer it. Wanna be in the circle, get the benefits, but you ain't put the work in. You just counterfeit. You a political operative, smiling in their face, just a snake in the grass, trying to take their place. We out here searching for a tribe, trying to be free, trying to live our best life, but the snakes stay close, wearing a disguise. Now you got mad, showed your true self, no surprise. You been popped, dumb bitches, read your rights. You been popped, dumb bitches, read your rights. Yeah. It's the activist in me that's gotta speak the truth. I'm allergic to the fake, been like this is my youth. See them in the comments, singing all the praise. Go sis, go, while they plotting in the haze. Plotting on a downfall, plotting on a spot, thinking they can use a light to get what they ain't got. But you can't use a mirror, you can't use a queen. Your whole entire persona is a fucked up scene. You a resource sucker, energy drain. They bring the clouds, we just trying to bring the rain. But we see you, yeah, we see you. Your little mask is cracked and now you cornered, about to see how you act. For a tribe, trying to be free, trying to live our best life, but the snakes stay close, wearing a disguise. Now you got mad, showed your true self, no surprise. You been popped, dumb bitches, read your rights. You been popped, dumb bitches, read your rights. These people don't care about your life or your struggle, they just wanna break you down and make your hustle tumble. Now we see the true colors at the core of these people. Their whole foundation is evil. We at war and we question these people. Gold in his love for her people, and I've been trying to warn people. This is the ugly truth of the world. Watching all the snakes uncurl, here's the revelation, the part you should've known. A person's real character is when their anger's shown. You got pressed, you got mad, and all that fake ass love you had turned to poison. Jealousy and spite, they hate cause you that bitch and shining too bright. You ain't no friend, you just a hater in disguise. Walk past, head high, don't look them in the eyes. So here's the diss, you lost, you're done. Your fake support is over, your little game is run. You pop yourself, bitch, we ain't have to do a thing. Just sat back and watch you pull your own damn string. You been popped, you can't infiltrate this. Your mask is on the floor, go pick up your shit. We out, we out. You kid, yeah. Sickness spreads in whispers, in poison wells and corrupted corrupted. But a community with a strong immune system develops its own antidote. This is the cure. Listen. Listen, there's a venom in the discourse, a toxin in the talk, a parasitic agent feasting on the soul of the block. It spreads through the timeline, infecting the youth, disguising its poison. In the fragment of truth, it preaches self-interest, promotes the individual dream. Anything to fracture the collective, to poison the stream. We see the symptoms in the envy, the distrust that you breed. You planting seeds of chaos, fulfilling the system's need. This ain't about a person, this is about a constitution. You're a weapon of division, a tool of social pollution. Like the agenda's getting bold. Why? Your people have been sold. Jig is up, you're the poison, the cancer, and the cold. You don't fight for the cause, you just lighten the load for the oppressed. My. Hear the conscience, see the fraud. Bye. Your whole damn act's a fraud. You're a symptom of the sickness, a tool of the trade. For every conscience that we take, you pull us from the shade back into the darkness. Fighting sister against brother while you collect the profits, then go poison another. You weaponize our trauma, you monetize our pain. Tell us to tear each other down for your temporary gain. You speak the language of the people with the motives of the state. Asleep a cell of selfishness designed to make us hate. But the body's getting stronger, the fever's starting to break. We can finally see the difference between what's real and what's fake. Like, my, the agenda's getting bold. Why? People have been sold. Jig is up, you're the poison, the cancer, and the cold. You don't fight for the cause, you just lighten the load for the my. Yeah, the conscience see the fraud. Bye. Your whole damn act's a fraud. But the antidote is unity, the cure is in the roots. It's the knowledge of the elders and the fire in the boots of a generation rising that refuses to be bought. Recalling all the lessons that our ancestors taught. We cleanse the foundation, rebuild the immune to make the collective a garden where the real seeds can bloom. You can't poison a forest that shares a single source. We are the uprising, the unstoppable force. This is a conscious rebellion, a surgical strike to separate the healthy cells from the ones you're alike. This is more than a track, it's a call to the core to protect the foundation of what we're fighting for. So let them have the clout, let them have the fake fame while we reclaim the power that's attached to our name. Every word is a brick, every verse is a wall to protect the community and watch the poisoners fall. So let the record show a community divided is a target, a community infected is a tragedy, but a community united is a revolution. And the golden rule: protect the people. My. Protect the people. Protect the people. Hey. My. Protect the people. The people presence. My. My.
All right, y'all. So thanks for rocking with us with that quick music break right there. I had to get some water and go use the restroom, y'all. So we're going to be getting into part 3, okay? And we got to talk about this. This one is really serious, okay? So breaking the cycle and community solutions are being continued. Now with segment 4, we're going to be talking about deconstructing weaponized labels and reputation attacks. So, Imani, would you like to go ahead and start off with this one, girl, or you want me to take the lead on it? It's up to you. You can unmute if you want. I think you still muted,
Oh,
girl.
I've done it again. Right.
It's okay.
So, as we're closing out our analysis of this, we have to address how these tactics manifest as basic, specific verbal offences. So, often when a creator or a leader refuses to fall in line with a dominant subgroup, they are, or coordinated attack campaign, the opposition normally will resort to using high stakes weaponized labels, specifically calling people racist, colorist, um, essayer, many labels, misogynist. There are many things that there are pedo or PDF. There are all sorts of labels that get attached to people. And the thing is, racism is systemic and institutionalized oppression and or prejudice against a particular group. Colorism can happen within a community. So, for example, within the Indian community, there's a caste system, and the darker you are, the lower you are considered to be in the class system. We saw this also in South Africa, where there were 3 colours. There is white, there is coloured, where biracial people sat, and there were blacks. And all of them had a particular place in the class. Now, these terms are very painful to people, and they're flung around this platform, also in the workplace, freely, as though they're nothing, and they're taken completely out of context, and they're normally used to try and trigger the person because they know they don't exhibit these behaviors, but they want to get a reaction. And this is what I've always talked about, and Golden and I have discussed this on many occasions. It's to trigger a reaction. And one of the labels that is used against Golden constantly is that she's a colorist. Now, let's just talk about this. Golden is a colorist. Yes, Golden is fairer skinned. We can talk about the historical reasons for this. But Golden's mother is dark skinned. So, what you're saying when you're saying Golden is a colorist is that she doesn't like her own mother because her mother's darker than her. Now, we all know Golden loves her mother to bits. So, using that term and throwing it around as though it's nothing is, is offensive in the highest order. And people know it. And it's now being picked up by people outside of the community. I believe somebody who is Caucasian calling Golden a colorist, knowing full well that that is a targeted, weaponized attack against her. And it's not funny at all. It's not funny at all. It's even less funny when it's coming from outside the community. But that's it really is a painful term, and it is also professionally damaging and socially damaging to someone to be called a colorist, especially when you don't know. And these labels that people use, they need to be careful, because in real life, when you're face to face, you're not talking that ish. You're not saying that ish face to face. People have so much courage behind the keyboard on this platform, but people will not do that. If you're in the workplace, you wouldn't be saying that. And I think this is one thing people need to understand. There are things that they say on this platform that they know they wouldn't say in their real life. They wouldn't meet you in the supermarket and tell you that ish, because they know their hands are going up. They would not do it in the workplace because they know they would get fired. So why do you think you can freely throw those labels at anybody? Why do people think they can freely talk about people's private lives and their private traumas? You'd be fired at work if you went round spreading people's personal business, and they know it. But here, because you think you're unobtainable, you think you're unobtainable, just look at what's going on in the courts at the moment. Legally, you are not. Legally, you are not. So I would advise people to stop playing fast and loose with some of this crap that you're talking out the side of your mouth, both sides of your mouth with, because you don't even understand the impact and the historical impact of some of these labels. And like you're calling a man of color an essayer, when we know that that is one thing that we have many people behind bars. There were many people who were unalive during Jim Crow for being accused of something like that they didn't do. I actually heard someone saying that there was a danger in a certain content creators Discord that someone was going to be essayed. What, virtually through chats? It's ridiculous, some of the stuff. But it is inflammatory, and it is libelous, and it is very dangerous, and it's not funny at all. And that's all I got to say. And I'll pass the baton on to Mama before I absolutely let rip, because I'm trying to contain myself on this part. Mama?
Okay.
We
We
understand.
understand. Yep. Now y'all go ahead and pray for me. Here I come.
Oh Lord, Lordy.
Now, I'm having a hard time not speaking this name, but therefore I'm not a coward. I never have been.
We don't have to.
But I'm pretty sure all three of us know whom I'm speaking about, because it's the only person that comes on every day to humiliate, talk, and call names and what have you. Let me introduce myself to y'all once again. I'm a 63-year-old permanently disabled woman who has survived many things. One is a stroke that I had 2 years ago. It did leave some effects behind, one of them being my speech. And I go on with courage, and I still try to do my lives and speak the best that I can. But this particular person seems to think that's funny. She seems to think that every day it's a wonderful thing for her to make a joke about. There is a young man in the family, which is Heather's closest friend, her boyfriend. He is in a wheelchair. I have heard this person make various jokes about him in his wheelchair. So I speak for the disabled community. It is both immoral, it's horrible, and it's awful, and it's also illegal to humiliate the disabled in any kind of way, and especially as a part of YouTube guidelines. So may this be a warning. This is something that you don't want to do. You need to stop doing this, or there will be consequences for that. Number two, I came to YouTube almost the same time Golden came to YouTube. She went her direction and created her lives as she wished. And I went my direction and created my lives as spiritual lives, because I love God. I like to share God. I like to share his word. I like to share how he tells us to live and how he tells us to get through this rough life that we all must live. So I do my spiritual life. That has also become a mockery of this person. I've been placed in a cartoon where I've been placed in a Black Widow dress with a Bible in my hand, looking like a squirrel or something, or I don't know what kind of cartoon this person comes with. But anyway, I've seen this. I've heard this constantly. It takes a lot for me to hold myself back with a lot of things I want to do, and tonight I'm not going to do them. But I'm going to say if this person really needs to be taken down from YouTube, her channel really needs to be taken, because she not only humiliates and talks about me and Golden, this woman, well, this thing talks about everyone.
No, don't do that.
She talks about everyone, and nobody's out. So let me speak very plainly about this. Here's something else. When you have a leader, for instance, a light-skinned Black woman who loves, supports, and works within her community all the time, being labeled as a racist or a colorist, simply because she sets boundaries and refuses to participate in digital power-on or speaks out against coordinated harassment, the math doesn't add up. And let me speak on that a little bit. Just as Imani did, I'm going to repeat her. I am a darker complected mother. I gave birth. Hello, everybody. I gave birth to a fairer complexion child, lighter child. Let's put it that way. She loves me and will give her life for me. And I love her and will give my life for her. So there is no way possible that my daughter could be a racist or a colorist. And this label needs to drop. it needs to go away because it does not fit. It doesn't fit. It's not her. She's not a racist. She's not a color, and nor am I. I'm not a racist, and I'm not a color. Okay, so let's end that on that tip. The people launching these attacks knows exactly what they're doing. They aren't trying to have a nuisance conversation about skin tone or systemic bias. What they're doing is using the most radioactive words they can think of to try to alienate her from her own people, which will never be done. She also has aunts and uncles that are very dark complected too, and we love them dearly. It's an attempt to force her into silence by making her defend her identity instead of defending her boundaries. And I just wanted to make sure that note is clear once and for all. I don't bother nobody, guys. Y'all come to my channel. I do a spiritual channel. I try to be everybody's mama if they need me. I try to love everyone. I bless everyone. And I've also told you I'm not perfect. No, I fall short of the glory sometimes. I'm not perfect. I never said I was. But when I'm on my channel, I try to present to you a respectful older woman who loves her spiritual life and wants to share her spiritual life with others. This is all I do. I don't come to people's channels and talk about them and curse them out and offend them and humiliate them. I don't do that. If I come to your channel, you always say, hey, how you doing? God bless you. Bless your live. I like your live, or something positive. I don't come to people's lives with destruction and drama. So I just wanted to make that clear.
Right. And you know,
Before you go, Golden, I just want to make it clear because I think the idiot is in the bushes anyway.
Okay.
Just to let you know, when your channel goes, because legal action has been taken against you, just remember you've been warned, okay? Because you think everything's funny. You think everything is funny. You're destructive. You're actually not an addition. You're not an addition to unity. You're actually you're the one who drills the holes while people are trying to row the boat. But when your channel goes and you start crashing and burning and doing whatever you normally do, yeah, just remember this conversation because you've got no respect. You want to please people who are using you, and you deserve everything that will be coming to you and your channel. Trust me, everything. That's me done.
okay, got you, girl. All right. So I just want to say a few things,
Sorry,
and y'all know,
I just want to tell her to keep the laughing emojis going. Keep the laugh. You'll be laughing when you've got to go out and find work. Yeah, you'll be laughing when you've got to go out and look for a job.
And I
oh
got a
my
little
God.
light. I have a little light one. Why don't she take some cooking lessons?
Okay, enough, enough.
No. We don't need to see those pancakes again.
Not the tissue
It's all right.
pancakes and the
No,
dirty sperm.
let her carry on laughing because when her when the monetization went, she was crashing out. When you're not on YouTube able to disturb people's peace, we'll see how funny it is when you've got to go and work again. Because that's what you need is a job.
Yes, she does.
You
She
need
needs a
a
job.
damn job.
Yeah,
Woo, Lord, Lord,
she needs to
Lord.
work.
Y'all ain't holding back tonight, y'all. But no, I just want because y'all know how I do. I want to say a few things, right? When it comes to these two things, because I see that there is weaponization of terminologies that people don't fully understand. And like we said, or Mama said, radioactive words, trigger words, things that they know that can get people going and, you know, really really damage and defame your character. But we're about education over here. That's what we typically do, right? So I'll talk about my personal feelings and stuff in just a moment about some of these labels that not even just me have been, listed as, but others as well. And the two main ones that I see, there's some type of movement right now for people to try and paint a narrative that because you are a Black or an African American person and you are pro-Black, meaning you care about your people, you care about your people's struggles, you're an activist when it comes to those things, right? Because that's important to you and it's important to your family and your people, right? That somehow makes you anti any other race, especially Caucasian or white. And that is an absolute lie. I've not been the only one that this has been told to or weaponized against. I experienced and seen another pro-Black beautiful woman being attacked in a chat yesterday because of her open vocal activism for her people, her community, and her pride in being a Black woman. And so let's go ahead and get into some definitions here. So first and foremost, if we're going to talk about racism, let's be very clear as to what racism is. It is a systemic structure, ideology, and set of practices based on the belief that different races possess distinct characteristics, abilities, or qualities distinguishing them as inferior or superior to one another. True racism goes beyond personal prejudice. It requires institutional power to enforce disadvantage. It generally operates across three major levels. Systemic institutional racism. The policies and practices within certain institutions like the legal system, housing, employment, and education that result in and support a persistent unfair advantage to some people and unfair or harmful treatment of others based on their race. Number two, interpersonal racism is discrimination, microaggressions, or hostile behavior that occurs between individuals. And number three, internalized racism, the internalization of racist attitudes, stereotypes, and biases by members of marginalized racial groups about their own group themselves. So, to call somebody racist, you have to understand the definition, right? So, by these definitions alone, okay, no possible way. No possible way. Okay? Be very clear about that. Educate yourself. Crack open a book. Close the mouth. Open a book. Do your research. Know the definitions of these words that you try to weaponize on people because what? You're in your feelings? Okay. Moving on. Colorism. Colorism is a practice of discrimination and prejudice where people with darker skin tones are treated less favorably than those with lighter skin tones. Coined as a formal term by author and activist Alice Walker in 1982. Colorism is deeply rooted in the historical legacies of colonialism and slavery, where lighter skin was frequently associated with higher social status, privilege, and proximity to whiteness. The key characteristics of colorism include intraracial and interracial. It frequently occurs within the same racial or ethnic group. For example, lighter skinned individuals being favored over darker skinned individuals within the Black, Hispanic, South Asian, or East Asian communities, as well as between different groups as well. Media and beauty standards. It heavily influences global standards of beauty, media representation, and marketing, such as the global multi-billion-dollar skin lightening industry. Socioeconomic impact. Studies consistently show that colorism impacts real-world outcomes, including disparities in sentencing with the criminal justice system, employment opportunities, and income gaps based on skin shade, independent of broad racial categories. Now, colorism is a thing due to white supremacy. They created it. They put it in place. They put it in place to do what? To have Black people, African American people of all different skin tones be weaponized against one another. That was their practice that they put in place to get us to fight amongst ourselves, to dislike and hate one another, to think that one is better than the other. I don't understand how somebody who is not even within my race can sit up here and tell me that I am a colorist without even knowing the actual definition of what a colorist is. If anybody exudes any type of level of energy of colorism, it would not be me. Because I am not the one who speaks as if I think people are beneath me. This individual speaks to Black people as if they are beneath her. So you tell me, is that the white supremacist in you, or are you actually the colorist? When we're talking about racism, and we'll run it back, systemic institutional racism, policies and practices within institutions like the legal system, housing, employment, and education that result in and support a persistent unfair advantage to some people and unfair or harmful treatment of others based on their race. Someone who wants to call me racist, that has come out of their mouth and said despicable things about Black people, using historically damaging words such as the N-word in fits and moments of rage, telling Black people that they should be thankful that their ancestors were taken from Africa and traded for spices so they could come to the United States and have a better life. That's giving racist. For someone to sit up and feel as though they own a certain sector, they own somebody else's channel or porch, and they run things, that's giving racist. So please, for the very last time, please close your mouth, open a book, do your research, and fully understand what you're saying when you say it. And do the work to understand how to properly apply what it is you're saying. Because what you're trying to label other people as, honey, if you look in the mirror, I believe most of those things apply to you. So it's real cute. It's real cute how a lot of these individuals are going around and they're trying to deflect. You're trying to deflect what you are, how you move, how you think, how you operate on other people. When we call out injustices, you don't get to label us the very thing that you are. That's why we're calling out the actions and the behaviors and the injustices. Because we actually know historically and by definition what those things are. I don't think you know. So that's just a quick little lesson for you. Because if you don't know, you don't know.
But you know.
But from here on out,
you know.
you can't say that you don't. Because I just broke it down for you. You got any more words, Imani?
No, I think the idiot I was talking about is not the one that you're talking about. But guess what? I think I feel another diss track's probably going to be coming at you soon.
Ciao, ciao.
Child. Maybe it'll be
But
Alice
listen,
in
you know
Wonderland.
what? My phone is running out of battery, and I'm going to say my final words before my phone runs out, and then I'll leave it to you, Mama, to close out. You know, when we sit back and look at the bigger picture, these behaviors are just human psychology under pressure. It's survival instinct, it's fear of exclusion, and it's the pursuit of status and weaponized labeling playing out in the workplace and on this stage. And some people actually will only learn when action is taken. And I'm talking about the person that comes out every day to talk about you. I'm not talking about the person that calls you a colorist. I'm talking about the person that thinks she has the right to get up every day and drag you in the worst ways possible. But have at it. And thanks for the emojis, because that's going to push this up in the algorithm. Dumbass.
Not just drag me and many others. It never
Yeah.
ends.
But anyway, I'm gonna drop down because I know my phone's gonna run out of battery. Keep pushing it up the algorithm, please, please. Go on.
I'm getting ready
You're
to close.
so dumb. She is so dumb.
We don't have much more left. I just have my final closing statements, and that is it. So, yeah, I believe we said all that needs to be said. There's a lot of information given here today, and I hope it is deemed useful in some certain way or shape or form. But yeah, there's so much that we're seeing. There's so much that we are hearing and experiencing on these platforms, and it's becoming very evident to many people. And again, I had to add in that last part because that is just something that I see as becoming a weaponization. But outside of that, this wasn't really a race conversation. This is a conversation about behavior on these platforms and how it is way out of hand. And then we have to get some type of check on it. We got to get some type of check on it. And we call it like we say it when we say it. That's the only way you continue to combat this stuff. You can't stay quiet about it. If we want healthy communities, we have to remember that they don't happen by accident. They happen by design. When we name the behavior, we protect our boundaries, we define the terms accurately, and refuse to let division be profitable. We build spaces that are harder to fracture and easier to protect. So, Mom, do you have any final words? Because I'm about to wrap this up and end it now.
No, I think I've said all I need to say. I hope I clarified what I need to clarify. And
That's it.
that's it.
All right. So thank you all for tuning in this evening, keeping the conversation elevated and analyzing these patterns with us. So we all got to remember to stay grounded, stay analytical, and guess what, y'all? We will see y'all on the next live. I appreciate you all so much. Thank you for everybody who joined in the chat and anyone who was listening in the bushes. We appreciate that as well. We hope you all have a good rest of the evening, morning, afternoon, night, whatever time it is, respectfully in your time zone, and a great rest of the weekend. We will end with about per usual, and we will see y'all on the next live, guys.
See ya.
All right, Golden, Imani, Mama Warrior, we out. Bye.
Yeah, y'all.
They don't know her like I do. Nah. Golden. She moved through the city with her hair held high. Pretty brown skin with a storm inside. Everybody see the glow, they don't know the pressure. Smile so warm, but her heart no weather. Late nights riding while the skyline blur. Trying not to cry when the memories occurred. Had to learn fast, everybody ain't loyal. Some people love you long as they control you. Now she move careful, energy expensive. Too many fake vibes hiding in the friendship. Used to give love with her hands wide open. Now every scar got the whole vibe frozen. They don't know her like I. No, they don't know her like I. She goes by golden. Soft voice, deep soul, hope or glowing. She goes by golden. City lights dancing with her heart stay open. Long dark road, but she still stay focused. Everybody watching, but they don't really know her. Too much grace for the games they throwing. Real love, rare, so spirits they got it. Beautiful soul, but the pain left marks in it. Mirror tell the truth when the lights go dim. All the things she carry weight heavy within. She survived nights she don't even speak on. Still finding peace what the whole world ain't wrong. Funny how the love disappear when you're healing. Funny how the fate come around when you win. Now she trusts God more than people intend. Just cause smiles hot and being hidden in the deep. She's still soft-hearted but she way less naive. Can't keep pouring love but there's nothing received. Still dancing slow through the hurt and confusion. Trying not to lose herself chasing illusions. She survived the fire. Still glowing through the smoke. Still sad. Still dangerous. Still chosen. She goes back golden. Snow so deep made the whole room notice. Heavy lies couldn't break what was chosen. Still standing tall while the whole world folding. She goes back golden. Heartbreak turned to pen cinematic. Now the tears got rhythm when she's singing. And they still don't know her like they still don't know her like that. Spend too much time looking for love in strangers. Spend too much time. Spend too much time letting outside voices shake the mirror. But at the end of the night, when the lights fade, when the city quake, when the tears dry, I still got